So Tim has talked me into keeping this and retailing it. It's a part exchange that came in. We got it for the right money. It was fairly cheap. It was £4,000. And so far we have done all the wheels that needed doing. I think it was just 3 out of the 4. They've all been sorted and it is screaming out for a good machine polish. And I was speaking to a mate about this in the pub recently, Ben and Scarlett. Hello, I know you're always watching. People always question why we make a margin, and sometimes it's hard to see when you're looking at a car dealer buying a car for £4 and selling it for 6.5, why that's justified. So today what we're going to do is going to justify it and show you what goes into prepping a car properly, and this old knacker needs quite a bit of work, doesn't she, Tim?
She does, yeah, but the good foundation there to work with.
It's such a positive man.
You know, it's all there. It's all there to go. The guy who had it before, genuine character, really looked after this car well. You could just tell.
Yeah.
And it's had a lot done to it and things like that on it. So it's, you know, very recent MOT, clean. So it is just slight cosmetics, really.
And I think the problem is I'm missing it with margin sometimes, because it's the sort of stuff that I'd trade out normally. Just sort of go, get rid of it, looks wrong on the forecourt. However, it's that difficult at the minute, giving away a couple of grand's worth of margin, it just ain't going to work anymore. So Tim's going to talk us through how he's going to polish this and get it looking right, look at all the different products. We've also got a bit of an issue with the seat. So we're going to get Tim's mother in, who's a seamstress.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Sort of,
yeah. A sewist. So she's going to be coming in, and then Tim is going to be hitting this car, working through all the different pads, all the different polishes. So what I'm going to do now, because I've just had a customer land up to buy a 540. Andrew, that's you in the background. I know you can see us filming now. Tim's going to talk you through the polishing. I'm going to go sell a car. And over to you, Tim, mate. Be entertaining.
Right, I'll try my best.
See you in a bit.
The first thing I generally do when a car comes in, there's many ways to do it, but I tend to look at the sort of badder areas, the areas that are going to need more attention. It all looks to be original paint, which is, you know, like I say, a great start. Oldish car though, they do pick up blemishes, scratches, swirls, particularly in dark coloured cars. This is one of the areas, as you can see here. It's quite common around the driver's door handle. People just obviously have things in their hands, they scratch, and there's nothing too deep, but it may require a little bit of wet sand in there. Low down, yeah, there's some scratches. Good way to tell is if you just apply a little spray of water on a scratch, if it tends to disappear in front of your eyes, you know that it's gettable. Boot lid, oh, here we go. Bird plop, a very defined one. You can almost sort of guess, you know, which direction the bird was flying in looking at that. So that will probably need a little bit of wet sanding, flatten it down, polish it back, should come out no problem. That's quite a bad one. So we will look at, I think that again it is gettable, that. Bonnet, it's a key area to get looking good. Nothing I can see on here which is too bad at all, really. I generally start on the worst bits with the rotary polisher, get those out because we're going to be DAing the whole thing afterwards anyway. Some areas which aren't too bad, you can just use the DA polisher. It's a lot easier for a lot of people to just use that. Obviously, if that doesn't work, then you are back to the rotary, but we'll explain things as we go. Big areas would generally use the bigger rotary polisher. So this just rotates, it doesn't oscillate like the DA. It does create more heat, so you've got to be a bit careful, you know, but it will get rid of the worst scratches a lot quicker, a lot more efficiently. In smaller areas or areas which are have more curvature to them, you know, trickier bits to get to would go back to the smaller rotary. It's a lot easier to handle. It doesn't jump around as much. It's just better at the smaller, more intricate areas of a car. Sometimes we are going to need to wet sand first and then use the rotary, then the DA afterwards. So this is one of the DA polishers. So this head oscillates, doesn't build up as much heat. It's a really safe polisher to use. A lot of cars, you can just use the DA, you can just go over it all. It doesn't build up a load of heat. You can't do a lot wrong with it, but it isn't great at getting out the deeper scratches. I mean, it could, but you would be there forever. So if you go over with a softer pad, it will eradicate those swirl marks or slug trails, whatever you want to call them. We have smaller attachments such as these, you know, so they can screw onto your polisher. Other even smaller ones which you can literally use in a hand drill. Wet sanding, it's not something I like doing really, and I don't think anyone does, but sometimes it's needed. Wet sanding kind of just gets rid of all that. It gets you a flat surface. It looks horrific when you've done it. It looks like you've destroyed the paintwork, but there is, you know, like I say, original paint, there is a good layer of lacquer there to work with. So we can wet sand it back, but then, as I say, you go back over with the rotary and it will just eradicate, you know, any light scratches like that. So one other quick thing to mention before you start polishing is panel preparation. So it's just really cleaning the surface, getting rid of all the little tar spots. Usually if you just run your hand down, lower down on a panel, you'll be able to feel them. So tar and glue remover. So you just squirt that on, leave it to do its thing for a few minutes. Give it quite a vigorous rub. It'll get rid of all the little tar spots. This is, you know, quite a bad scratch really. They can often look worse than they are, so like I say, a good test. It virtually vanishes when you wet it, which means it can be polished out. So this was the scratch of concern for me really. If the scratch is, say that's your layer of clear coat lacquer, if it's down deep, you're never gonna get rid of it altogether. You can get down to it. You can sort of round the edges of the scratch, get it looking so it's barely noticeable, and just do what you can. You can't get them all. Right, so we're going to begin to wet sand just above this problematic door handle. I'm going to go in with P2500 on this and then follow it over with something finer. If you're using quite gnarly sandpaper, the scratches the sandpaper leaves itself can be really tough to get rid of. Let's see what we can do. Alex asked me off camera, how do you know how much lacquer's there and how much you can sand? Well, you don't really. You kind of get to know how deep you're going through with, you know, just visually how much of this white looking liquid is coming away. I'm going to go over it with P3000 pad now. This will just kind of smooth it all out. Always keep away from edges as well, because the paint and lacquer are thinner on any kind of edged part. So we'll wipe it back, see what we're dealing with. So as I say, it looks a bit scary when you've done it. So I've got the small rotary polisher, which I'm going to use to attack this. Some quite heavy cut polish, this 610, really good stuff. Just a few small dots, so if you spread your polish out well. You can usually just have a touch. I knew that wouldn't be too hot anyway, but it's always worth just checking the temperature. It's amazing how hot you can get lacquer before it starts to have any bad effects. Another thing is there's really no need to put any kind of pressure on the polisher, on the pad. Almost let the weight of the machine rest against the paintwork. So also once you've gone over with a few passes, it often does reveal something you haven't quite sanded down deep enough to. With that scratch there, if you can pick it up, I'm just going to go over that again with the wet sanding, and hopefully we can get that out. This is where it gets a bit nerve-wracking, to be honest. Look at that. Right, I believe I've got that this time. That's okay. So yeah, the scratch has now gone, so that little bit of, for the extra few minutes for another quick sand, you know, it pays dividends really. This is going to be another problem area, which we'll deal with next. So what we can do, which does work, you just got to put a bit of elbow grease into the situation and polish it by hand. Just as it sounds, you just rub away. Because they're just fingernail scratches really, so they're not deep. So a little bit more work and we should be there. So yeah, that's more or less acceptable now. It should come out okay. Okay, so we're back on the boot now, where we looked at before, where there's this bird dropping. So once more, we're back to a bit of wet sanding. So I'm just smoothing it all out, ready to be polished. So we'll be able to see here what a fantastic mess we've made. But it looks like it's done its job. So a small amount of compound. So we should find that bird poo has been terminated. Yeah, that's all vanished, so that's good. There's some scratches, if you just have a look around here, to take care of. So you once again, hello.
Hello. As you were, Tim, mate, sorry. I'm aware I've not been involved in this process at all.
He admits
so apologies
it.
for that. It's what, sorry?
I said you admit it then.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. It looks good, that side, good.
Yeah,
This
it's
side.
all coming together nicely. I'm just saying, onto the tail lights, makes a massive difference when they're polished up, like the paintwork.
Sleeping.
They always dull a bit. You're going to get some scratches on there. So you can do the same process. You can wet sand them, not a problem. They can take some fair punishment, these lenses. This case, don't think it's needed. So we're just going to go over it with the machine, and I think they'll come up lovely.
I see you finger blasted the door handles.
Ah, yeah. Yeah,
Nice.
that took some strength in that.
Got some strong fingers on you, Tim.
Well, I'm a guitar player, aren't I?
Oh, yeah, that's it, yes.
Yeah.
That's it, from strumming. Speaking of mothers, Tim,
Yes.
are we getting your mum in?
To do the seat?
Yeah.
Let's. I think she's our only hope, really.
Although someone did put a comment in the comments saying that apparently it was a link to someone who can come out and repair that seat. But I like the idea of having your mother in here.
And it'll be free.
Exactly. Bingo. We'll make her some tea.
Course.
Get her some Battenberg. I'm going to go for a wee. Ooh. Pretend to wash my hands.
Yeah, so that's come out lovely, is that? Not a lot of work needed at all.
I'm dying to watch this video.
Well, we've arrived at the worst part, the dreaded, the deepest scratch yet. To be honest, I should have done this first. The more I look at it, the more my confidence disappears. Sorry about the mess in here, Alex. I'm a hard worker, but I'm a bloody messy one. You want to see my kitchen after I've made a small curry? It's like a bomb's gone off. So I've sanded that a fair amount, so I'm just going to whiz over it with a polisher, see what we're dealing with. That's all it needs to see if we can still see the scratch. And it is still there. I'm going to be brave and have another pass. There's no black on it yet, which is a fantastic sign. Just about. So it is still there very, very faintly.
So today has so far been good and bad. Bad, HMRC. Good. Package that says YouTuber on it. It literally says YouTuber. Come.
You weren't expecting that, were you?
For a VW CC. Oh. I've got his details here. Alan, thank you, mate.
So we're just having a look at the bonnet now. A few little areas, another bird splash there, but that ain't too deep, so I don't think we're going to have to sand that. The rotary should pick that up. Just a few little marks, generally pretty good to be fair. May just give it a gentle sanding around here. Sometimes it can actually save time rather than going over and over and over with the rotary. Give it a gentle sand and it sort of comes off a little bit quicker, fingers crossed. So we'll get started on that and then we're pretty much there. Another little tip, which I feel is quite important, is keeping your pads clean, your polishing pads. So eventually, as you're working your way through, they do get clogged up with compound, and the compound's sort of already broken down, so it ain't doing its job properly, and the pad can go a bit smooth. So this is a really good thing to clean them with, just a airline, instead of washing them, of course, and waiting for them to dry. You just spin it up. Yeah, it's a really efficient way of cleaning them, and then you can obviously just get some fresh compound on, and away you go again, and just wash them at the end of the day. So just with a few passes, you know, it's already looking really nice. We're going to spend a good bit more time on this bonnet. Bonnet is a key area to get looking really as good as you can. So we're going to spend maybe another 3/4 of an hour to an hour on this bonnet. And then we're going to be pretty much done. You can have a look at the finished article.
You done yet?
Just about, yeah. Just about done, I think.
It looks good.
Yeah, I'm pleased with how it's come out, to be fair.
Yeah, it's bright. These pillars look loads better. Because they were grim.
There were a few hairy moments, particularly, where was it? There was a scratch down here, wasn't it? Quite a bad one.
Okay.
Yeah, I was sweating while I was sanding that thing down, I tell
It's
you.
rock and roll in here, isn't it? It's just mental.
I could feel my face just getting hotter and hotter the more I was sanding, you know. But it came out, which I'm pleased about. Really nasty bird plop on there.
Yeah, there was. I remember that. Oh, this boot looks
that
mega.
came out. There's you know, the odd little tiny mark here and there that you just can't get them all. But nearly everything we attacked came out lovely, really.
As they say in the trade, it's an eyeful of a car, Tim. An eyeful.
An eyeful, right.
An eyeful of a car. That's what they say. We've just got one problem, haven't we?
Oh, the seats, yeah. Well, Rob did actually put his hand up and offer to try and sew that. So I immediately rung my mum. Got her on the phone. She's agreed to come in and sew that little bit on the bolster.
We shall get a pot of tea for Mother. What's your mum called?
Ruth.
Ruth, good name. Strong Yorkshire name, I don't know. But no, it looks good.
Yeah, there were some bad marks, well, sort of scratches on the bonnet here.
Yeah.
They're always really gnarly to get out on the bonnet as well. I think it's because it just sort of heats up and cools down so many times over the years. It must make it really tough.
Never thought that.
That's my thoughts, is my opinion. But
it's the most important bit to get right, because it's
it's
right
it's
in your
just
face,
right
isn't
in
it?
Your face, yeah. But it's come out nice. Like I said, I'd have probably traded it out myself, but you know, after a good polish, it's made a...
Absolutely full of it. Well, you wanted this project, so you know I thought I'd leave it in your capable hands. But you're right; it does look good, and it will make a nice car.
Absolutely,
et cetera, et cetera.
yeah. No, it really is a good car. This, so I'm going to get it out.
Yeah.
Give it a final wash, because you do get all the bits of polishing powder in the nooks and crannies, so you really do need to wash it off. A few little stone chips to touch in, so a good idea to wash it first, because you can end up touching in little bits of polish that you think's a chip.
Fair.
It comes off on your brush. Done that before.
It's not that chippy.
No,
to be fair, for the age.
Absolutely, you can see cars that are sometimes 2 years old and they're riddled with stone chips, aren't they? You know, so I think it's just been looked after. This car, as I've said before. You know,
it's only taken you a week.
No, 2 days.
It's been pleasant.
I mean, I could spend another 2 days on it and get it even better if you want.
No, it's not possible to improve on this.
Yeah, I agree.
Good.
Yep, so we can finish it and get it pictured, get it up for sale.
Lovely. And make lots of money.
Some. All being well.
I'll take that.
All being well.
I'll take some. So no, perfect, mate. Looks a Bonnet, beautiful 2-litre diesel Passat. I'm very excited.
Okay.
All right. I guess we're going to meet your mother.
Yeah.
Here's Tim's mum.
Is it fixable?
Oh yeah.
Easier than taking a pair of jeans up, won't it?
I would suggest black stitching, but you know, if you want to be more
Do
creative.
you know about it?
You want to do a floral pattern, that'll be fine too. Super.
Yeah,
All right, thank you very much.
that's my pleasure.
finished yet.
It would appear the apple does fall far from the tree too. It's done the job, hasn't it?
Brilliant, but
Job, yeah, it's better than the photo, isn't it?
Thank you.
okay, my pleasure.
Lovely stuff. Do you want a pot of tea before you go?
I wouldn't say no.
Yeah, sound. Alex, make a brew. So we have it, bright as a button. So now you start to understand a little bit as to what goes in the background when you're trying to make cars look like this. But yeah, wheels done. Got some servicing stuff to do. So needs to do an oil filter, and I think that'll be good. Needs to go through an MOT. I'm sure it'll fly it. Looks bright as a button. That seat, I'm quite pleased with. The worst case scenario on it is we can have it patched up, but actually, it looks all right. Probably looks worse on camera. But I'm pleased with that, and it only cost me a box of Ferrero Rocher, because I'm a gentleman. But there you go. That's what happens behind the scenes. Now I'm going to get it listed, get it up for a handsome profit, pay a load of VAT on the profit, and then do it all again. But thank you for joining me on another journey of behind the scenes, and we look forward to welcoming you back to the dealership on the next one. Cheers.